Hi guys, subscribe on Chanel, click like, and let's go. Shadows of the Past. My name is Eloise, and a few months ago, I decided to make a documentary on urban legends. The subject? An abandoned psychiatric hospital, deserted for a decade after a series of inexplicable events. Rumors had it that patients there had suffered unimaginable torture and that their spirits still wandered the corridors, prisoners of painful past. As soon as I arrived, the imposing building gave off a heavy atmosphere. The hall once intended for visitors was now nothing more than a vast space filled with yellowed papers and whispers carried by the wind which seemed to tell forgotten stories. My team and I were there to capture the truth, armed with cameras and flashlights. The project was intended to be serious, but deep down, a strange apprehension invaded me. Exploring the first floor, we discovered a treatment room with walls covered in indelible marks, scratches, hastily scribbled words, and symbols that I didn't know how to interpret. Each room seemed to cry out the pain of a past that time had not erased. At one point, while I was filming in a small hallway, I heard a whisper, a barely audible but clearly human whisper that seemed to say, "Help us." I jumped, my heart racing, but the sound had faded into the oppressive silence. Later, in what must have been an old restroom, the decor was strange. An old armchair, a tattered blanket, and a yellowed photo of a group of patients who, surprisingly, seemed fixed, as if frozen in time. What made my blood run cold the most was that on the back of the photo, we could read a date, 1923. But the hospital had been renovated several times. Why would we keep an old image in a place that was supposed to be modern? Night was falling when we discovered a door hidden behind a heavy cabinet in the basement. This door led to a narrow room, lined with old paper and dilapidated posters. In the center of this room, a decades-old radio played soft, almost melancholy music. An interference seemed to add almost comprehensible words. "Forgive me? Forgive us?" My teammates began to leave the room, but I remained fascinated and horrified at the same time. Suddenly, the music stopped abruptly, and the radio emitted a faint laugh, like an echo from the past. The light flickered, and on the wall of the room, a silhouette was briefly outlined before disappearing. It was not the reflection of a known human, but that of an entity whose gaze was filled with unfathomable sadness. I ran out of the hospital, the images burned into my memory, and my camera recorded the last moment of my passage, a final whisper emanating from the top of a dark staircase, repeating over and over, "The shadows of the past never fade." Today, I continue to search for answers, obsessed by that voice and those frozen looks. But every night, the same sound echoes in my dreams, reminding me that certain places are doomed to haunt those who dare venture into their darkness. Can you give your theories, please? Watch this VOD to end. Thanks if you like this video. Subscribe, please. Bye-bye.